Hey, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Monday, December the 3rd. This will be our chart lesson for today. Pretty standard trend channel today. You can see it was down sloping, so the idea was to try to be getting short all day. We did have some strong, this was the overnight support area right across here, and we took a little bit to work through there, and you can see once we finally did, came back and tested it a couple of different times, and you could go short off of that. We really, I really started with this right along in this area right here, and you can see that right across there. We found all that support, but we worked our way on through, and so then you got to be looking at the overnight, and then we finally worked our way on through that and on down. But the key was finding this first trend line, and I drew it off those first two swings, and that gave you this, the first trade after about 8:30. There was more than one way to find that trade, but that certainly helped. And then I really was looking for it down here later, but as we kept bouncing, I kind of moved it up, and you can see it. It's pretty much it right across there. We bounced a little bit earlier right here, but we had this failed break below a double kind of triple bottom here, and that probably played a part in that snapping back again. And the reason we didn't quite get down there here is that we just come off the low side, and we're finding support across this low overnight low of around 14.1250 or 14.13, and you can see we bounced there. And there was a possible long right in here, but I didn't mark it. If you took this long, you might have wanted to take this one, but this one is not a good one. Look at all that overlap. That's not rejection. This looks more like rejection right here. We broke lower finally and reversed up out of there, closed on its very high. You might have gone long right in there. If you did, it was a pretty good trade. You had to wait for it to pull back a little bit, but this was the better entry really, because this is a second entry long after a failed break. It's a breakout pullback long. This break higher above these highs here, and you got to figure we're maybe heading back to the trend line, and so this was the better entry than even this one, but either one of those would have been okay. I didn't mark them because it's a downtrend day, and even though I got these lines drawn in here, this is not a range day. You can see you've started with your support in here, and then it kind of moved down to here, and then later it moved all the way down to here. So this is not really a range day. This is just you're just finding support areas along the way down and working with those. So, but let's talk about the trades, and probably gonna wrap it up pretty quick. I've got somewhere I got to be this evening, and so I got to get out here a little bit early today. So I'm gonna try to breeze on through this and get it wrapped up and show you the trades. And there weren't a lot of entries today. There were reasons why you may not have even taken these two. So you got 1, 2, maybe 3 of the best entries, and of course there's 3 other entries in here that are good setups. But if you're waiting on the best ones, they're usually going to be off this trend line, and there's 1, 2, 3 of them. And the first one was right at the open here. You already got a failed break higher right here, but it's not quite 8:30 yet, so the regular open came right in here somewhere, and then we broke higher again and failed. And look at this thing, it closed all the way down here on its low. It looks kind of like a doji, but that's a very bearish bar. It opened, traded its way up, and then they beat it all the way back down to its close. That's good enough. It's a second entry short. You're coming off this high, first entry, second entry, and you may not get through this area right here, but it's worth, you got enough room to scalp out more than likely, so it's worth taking that. And if you drew the trend line off the first 2 swings, you got another reason to enter right there. So a lot of reasons to enter short right there, and this thing was off to the races. Any runners were safe, so you could have ridden this all the way down today, and it's a really good setup. And you might have even went short right here, and if you did, it was okay. It was before the open, but it's a failed break out of all this chop right here. And so that was worth taking right there, but it was before the 8:30 open, and I like to wait till at least till the 8:30 and wait till they trap people on one side or the other, and that's exactly what they did. They trapped everybody to the long side, and it turned down. You don't know that it's going to run down like this, but if you scalp out and hold on to a runner, you get to ride it all the way down. And all I did was um, copy this line right here after I had it. You can see that. And I drug it down. I drug it down to this low. So I was looking for it maybe to bounce in there. Later I thought maybe this was going to be the low, but you can see it really was that low right there. That's where we bounced out there every time we touched that until we came up short right here. So nice trade. Like I said, runner's good. And that's the thing about all these trades, just about all of them, your runners would have been good. This one, again, you got all this chop and you got these matching highs here, and we ticked one tick higher, and this closes a little bitty doji, so there's plenty of room to scalp out before you get back down here, and you can see it bounced right there. If I drag that up here, you can see it bounced right there. And this is really just a two-legged pullback to the EMA. It was a little bit risky. I really probably should have done this one in green because look, it's right here at this strong support. But the reason I didn't put it in green is that we haven't come back down to what I was thinking was the 10 channel, which I was thinking might even be right there now at this time, or maybe even like that right there. So I'm looking for kind of a measured leg down at this point. You draw leg one, and then so I was looking for leg two, and look where it comes up right there at the trend channel line, but we never got there. And later I start trying to fit this better, and you see that this was just an overshoot, and this is more your channel line right down through here. But it was kind of hard to find that at the time. So when you went into all this overlap, you needed to exit. And so if you took this one, this is a second look. This is just one leg back. First entry, second leg back, second entry short, double top right at the EMA. We're in a downtrend. We've had some pretty good moves down. You might even be thinking, there's leg one. Now let's look for leg two. And you can see that's exactly where that basically went to right there. We might have come up a tick short. Yeah, maybe one tick short from, maybe two ticks there from having a measured move down. But I'm always looking for those measured moves, and you got to be doing the same kind of thing. So, and again, then we got down here, we touched the bottom. This is not rejection though. This is kind of, look at all that overlap. You had a failed breakout, and really there's another short right there. But coming off the lower side here, thinking that you're maybe coming off the lower side, even if you drew it like that. With all this overlap, I just didn't like this setup. Too many overlapping bars. It's a failed breakout. So if you took this, it might have even been a short right there, and you can see it was two more legs down, and then we reversed out of there after we failed. You can see it's kind of a failed break lower below this low right here, and it turned straight up. So you could have gone long right there or right there. You'd have to ride this out a little bit, but you had to be thinking we're coming back up to test this area and to probably test the trend channel line or the trend line. And so fairly, again, I didn't mark these. I don't like them for the reasons I just mentioned, but if you saw them and took them, they meet our criteria, you could have taken them. But they're counter trend trades, and it's just not smart to be counter trend trading on a trend day. And so far, this is all downhill. We're making lower highs and lower lows all the way down here, and you can see that. And then all of a sudden, you get up here, you hit the trend line again, and you turn right off of it. You could have gone short right here, and if you had of it would have worked as long as you kept your stop above the signal bar, which was right there. But when prices didn't broke below this, and this ended as a doji and then another doji, you got to be real careful. And you see what happened if you put your stop right there. It broke lower and snapped right back, and that's generally what happens. And it turns into a breakout pullback short, though. But sometimes it snaps back and it keeps going. So, and you could have come back up here and broke the trend line, and whatever. So it was better to wait, and that's why I didn't mark that trade, even though there's a fairly good setup bar. You notice it never triggered. There's no break below that bar. Then you get a doji, then you get another doji. The only good thing that had going for it was each one there's a lower high. So the market's getting weaker, but usually when you break out of one of those little congestion areas or any kind of trading range, it almost always snaps back. And so now you got the snap back, but then you got a reversal bar right there. And if you didn't take that one, you could have even taken this one, and you see it was off to the races. And we got a little bit of congestion right here, and it looked like it was going to try to bounce, but it kept on going. And we didn't quite get to the trend line right here. So I didn't get out in time, and I gave back a little bit of it right here. Not a whole lot of it, but I gave back most of this move right here. And there was actually another short right here, but we aren't back to this trend line. So I didn't like this one. You got a lot of overlap right here, but you can see if you'd have taken it, it's a breakout pullback short. If you'd taken it, we got to come back down and test those lows again. Now you got your lows down here, and you can see now you got support way down here. No reason to be going long here, even though it would have worked. It's not a good setup. It's a double bottom. We didn't touch the upper side. We didn't touch the lower side. This is more likely to be a trading range kind of deal, and that's what it kind of turned out to be. But then you got two more chances to enter right here. Look at that. That's the kind of bar you like to see. You run up here and it breaks higher, and it trades way up here, and then it turns and closes on its very low. So you could have gone short right there, but you might have wanted to wait on the second entry. Even if you'd have went short right here, as long as you kept your stop above the signal bar. What I like to do on a big bar right here is wait for it to break lower and then drop a limit order in here. And so then you don't give it as much room, and you can still put your stop up here. Sometimes you'll get left behind doing that, but a lot of times it comes back like it did here, and you get to get in way back here, and you get to only a point or so stop, and it breaks higher and traps everybody and then turns down again. So there was another entry right there, and there's still room to get out before you get to these lows, and you can see it bounced here. But if you got in right here, you were better off. You got a lot better entry, and you could have ridden this all the way down. And by this time, it's too late in the day. There was another, and you can see there was another entry right here off the trend line again, but it's almost 3 o'clock by now, and you don't want to be entering that late in the day. So, and this trade, I can't remember if we talked about this one. This was a breakout pullback. That's where I would have had that, and it's just a breakout pullback. It's a failed second entry long too. You're coming down here, you try to go long, come down here, you try to go long again, and actually that's not, because here's your new high, so I take that back. That's not. This is really a double top though, and one of the ways I like to do the rule is if it's a double top, you can count it as a first entry off the right hand side. That's close enough. It's coming off the trend line, so first entry, second entry. So you could have looked at it like that. It's not a perfect setup, but it's a breakout pullback short, and that's a very bearish bar. So you could have even gone short right there, knowing that you're probably headed to this trend channel line down here, and you can see we got a long way to go. And we didn't quite get there, but if you held on, it kept going lower, and it's still going lower. So it depends on how you manage that trade, and this same thing as it happened. And this is just kind of a repeat pattern of this one right here. But it was all shorts today. I didn't mark any longs. If you back out, you can see it. It's all downhill. Fairly standard day. And how'd you find that trend line? Off the first two swings, and that gave you the setup all day long. And then you just copy that and drag it down till you find where it fits. And really the only reason you need this is just to kind of have an idea of where you want to exit your runners and stuff. You don't really want to be looking for any longs off that stuff on a day like this, because the trend is all down. And even though you might get lucky and get it right, look at what would happen if you'd entered here. You'd got stuck and probably got your stops run. And if you entered here, you might have scalped out right there. No, that's not even enough right there. And then you got your stop run again. So, you got stopped out twice before it finally took off. So that's why it's not worth it, really. Now here, it took straight on up, and you could have scalped out of that one. But, it doesn't always happen, and this one worked right here as well. But it doesn't always happen. A lot of times you get fooled right here, and it's just not worth risking counter trend trades on a day like this until you've had a break of a trend line and then two legs down to a new low. And you notice there was never really any break of the trend line today, and it stayed downhill all day long. We bounced early quite a bit. And if you pull this on up, maybe it was kind of along like that right there, and that kind of fits better. So I'm thinking maybe that's it right there. And we just had a little overshoot and a little overshoot. But anyway, that was it for today. Hope you had a good trading day. Hope you had a good weekend this past weekend. We're starting to get into the end of the year kind of thing. So we had pretty good volume today. Friday we didn't have much going on. Pretty good move today. Still not as, you can tell the volume's tapering off a little bit. And you'll continue to notice that on into the holidays. The closer we get to the end of the year, a lot of people will start taking off. And I'll probably take the last couple of weeks off of the year myself. But, we'll worry about that when we get to it. For now, I'll be here until I tell you otherwise. So I'm going to wrap it up. This is back with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you tomorrow.